Hey everyone, welcome to another video breakdowns. I've gotten so many messages in the comments, and then also on Instagram, I've received DMs about how much you all really appreciate this. So as long as it's valuable to you, I'm going to continue to do these. And if you're not subscribed to this channel and don't know who I am, my name is Lakeisha. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button because most of the people who watch these videos are not subscribed. So if you want to stay up on what's coming up next, then you definitely want to subscribe to the channel. So first I'm going to be starting with GBP JPY, which is also known as GJ, also known as the pound versus the yen. So the market is actually getting ready to close in a few seconds here, but as usual, let's go ahead and start on the weekly time frame. So you can see that overall from 2020, the price for GJ has been going up and up and up. Little consolidation in here, but now the week just closed bullish. But basically what this is telling me is that since the week closed bullish, that there is a higher probability that price will continue bullish for the upcoming week, especially if we can break above this 191 level. So let me actually zoom in so that way everyone can see it. And okay, great. So pretty much it's above this level. Like I was saying before, if we can break above this 191 level, then there's a higher probability for price to go up. So in order for us to be able to determine whether or not we're going to go up or find a good entry for next week, then let's go ahead and go down to a lower time frame. So I just like to reset and make it look a little bit pretty. So as you can see on my daily chart, I do have a level drawn at 187.704, and then I also have a major level at 188.324. So pretty much this is a range right here, the same range that we saw in that weekly time frame. At some point price, well, 2 months ago almost, or a month and a half ago, price broke up here, landed here, formed a resistance. Actually, I'm going to move this little line right here. So this is at 191.191. That's cute. All right. So basically it formed a resistance right here. Price kind of danced around a little bit, formed another resistance, and then it came down to 181.411. And what price did here is it formed a support and then it started to push up. This area right here would have been, let me use my little arrow. This area right here would have been a really great area to look for buys. Although it didn't push up easily, it seems like today or maybe the past couple of days, because there was some data releases and news events that came out, so that helped to push price more bullish. So right now I'm seeing buys. So it's important for us to start on the weekly and then work our way down to the lower time frames, so that way we can find good entry points for the week. And if you're a scalper, you may want to go on even smaller time frames as far as entries, maybe the 5 minute, the 15 minute, and some people even do the 1 minute. That's not my thing. I'm more of an intraday trader and swing trader. This is looking good to me so far. So let's go down to H4 and let me erase this. All right. So once again, reset my chart and move it over. All right. So one of the things that I'm seeing here, actually I drew this out on last week's chart, but basically I noticed that there was a resistance forming here around 189.642. So basically what I did is I drew this resistance and I knew that I wanted to potentially take buys above this level at 189.722. So price did break out. This is a 4-hour chart, and if I was purely just swing trading, this probably would have been a really good entry candle for me to enter. So, and then we got this weak bullish candle right here for the 4-hour chart. So let's go down to lower time frames to see where we could potentially enter this market. So on H3, so sometimes H3 and H4 are very similar when it comes to at least the way the candles look. So in this case, it does look a little bit different. Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. So right now, what I'm seeing here is I see a little bit of a consolidation. So a consolidation is basically when you see candles printing side by side. So we got this bullish, bearish, bullish. So since this ended at a bullish, this is telling me that there's still a higher probability that price could go up. Awesome. So if I'm looking left on this time frame, I see a little resistance here. So I'm just going to draw this out right here. So I am a zone to zone trader. So basically I identify these zones as I'm doing my top down analysis, and then I find potential areas for me to enter. So right now, since price is pretty much at this support level and it closed bullish, that's still telling me that there's a higher potential for buys than for sells. So actually I'm going to adjust this support level mainly because when we have a bearish candle followed by a bullish candle, closed candles, keep in mind, this formed a support. Before this candle was even here, so let's hit the replay, let's get rid of that candle. All right, scoot over. So before that candle was even here, this actually looked like a resistance. So, but now that we have that candle, let's get out of replay mode. Yes. Now we have this support that is formed. So this is, so when I'm looking at potential buys, I know we're still on H3 time frame. It's a little bit high, but I still like to measure the range just to see about how many pips are in this location. So this looks like a decent size range to me. So especially for an intraday trade, this looks really good. And then it has the potential, depending on volume, to go up even further to a previous major resistance level, which is way up here at 191.2. So anyway, so this is still looking good to me. And then on the 2-hour time frame, we still have this bullish momentum, although this candle closed bullish. So as far as entries go, pretty much I would like to enter maybe on like H1 or like any of these lower time frames, 30, 15, sometimes 5, but I haven't done that in a while just because the probability of success sometimes for me and the way that I trade isn't always that high, which is why I like to use those higher time frames. And it also depends on where I'm trading from. We still have this support here. We have a mini resistance level right here. So pretty much, you know, this range right here is not enough. So I basically just get rid of this and just wait for price to potentially go above here. And now if we go down to a lower time frame, like 30-minute, we may actually see something that, see some more data. Let's go ahead and check it out. Actually, I'm gonna move that to the side for right now. So we see it came up to here, it rejected, it came down from the support, and it started to push up higher. So one thing that I could potentially see the market doing is coming back down into this zone and then continuing up, or if price wanted to go down, but it could potentially come down to here with a lot of volume. So pretty much since price is bullish on those higher time frames, I would not be interested in taking a sell in this market, but I know some of you like to take counter trends, and on occasion I will also take counter trends. So pretty much below this level, actually this is a little, I would actually be more comfortable with taking a sell below here. Mainly because we have this support that was formed right here. We also have a little support formed right here, but price is much cleaner in this zone right here. So pretty much at 189.43, and then all the way down to this level at 188.81. So price looks a lot cleaner, but I don't know, just depending on what I see in the market, how much volume's in the market, or what's happening at that particular time, I may be interested in taking a counter trend. So anytime I'm doing my top-down analysis, I like to plan for both sides. So basically have a plan if price goes up, have a plan if price goes down. For intraday trades, this is my plan for price going down. So actually, let me zoom back out a little bit just so I could kind of see what's happening on the higher time frame. All right, so as I'm looking at the daily time frame, I do notice that there is a rejection level right here. And I kind of see that this line that I drew on that lower time frame, this candle crosses that area. So it's just the area for me to pay attention to, because price rejected here. Let me make this bigger because this is getting a little hard to see. But basically, keep in mind that we're on the daily time frame. So price, as it was going up, it did form a little resistance. It did pull back, but it continued to go up. So that's good. But we noticed that the candle, this bullish candle, even though it was a strong candle, the next day, because we're on the daily time frame, the next day, the next candle went bearish, and then the next day after that it went bearish. Eventually it went bullish again, but basically it went bearish, and this really strong bullish candle just stopped. So if I'm looking over here, I'm pretty much seeing the exact same thing that has happened in the past. So one thing to keep in mind when it comes to doing your analysis and looking at your charts, whatever happened in the past has a high probability of happening again in the future. So it's really important to look left and see what has happened. So pretty much this daily bullish candle right here is looking very similar to this candle. Now, is the candle on Monday going to close bearish? We don't know. But if price on Monday can break up above this candle right here, then it has a higher probability of continuing bullish. So I just wanted to back up a little bit and just see what was happening on the daily time frame, because I have a good picture of what's happening on the lower time frames. And that's why when it comes to doing your analysis, you really have to look at all time frames, because they're all giving you the same data, but it may look very different time frame to time frame. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the H2 time frame and just kind of look at things. So yes, so this is looking good to me. Actually, let me go back up to the daily, because one thing I want to identify is another area where price could potentially touch. So throughout the week, there's data releases, there's news events, and all of those things come with a lot of volume. So basically, there is a high probability for price to reverse and come all the way down here. So the next level that I'm seeing on the daily is this level right here, mainly because if we zoom in a little bit, we can see that at this support level, this strong support level that has been formed on the daily time frame, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections, and then it shot all the way up here, which is a really big move. If price hypothetically flipped bearish like it did over here and comes here and forms a support and continues up, okay, I'm cool with that. But if price for some reason comes down, forms a support, and then rejects this level at 188.37, and then that tells me that it has a high probability of coming down to here. So like I said before, you want to plan for the upside, plan for the downside. So this is basically going back and planning for the downside. So pretty much this is a really strong level to me. So let's go ahead and go down on lower time frames and make sure that our levels are tightened up, so that way when we're looking at it on those smaller time frames like H1 or something like that, then we can make better decisions about where price could potentially go. So now we're on the daily. Let's go ahead and go to H4. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this level a little bit slimmer, mainly because I see that price broke, let me use my arrow, price broke this level right here. It came down, formed a support, and then pushed up. And then price consolidated around this level on this time frame, having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rejections in this area. So that is telling me that this is a really strong support level. And from this level, it made this really big move up like we talked about on the daily time frame. So if we were looking at, say, the H4 time frame, then a potential entry area could have been somewhere down here, or potentially once price broke this little resistance level and continued up. So let's go ahead and go down to a lower time frame to see if we could break this down a little bit further. So right now I'm on the H3 time frame, still looks good. I probably just want to move this just a little bit because I like to have my levels covering my wicks and being close to my body on here. So as far as the candles go, so sometimes it just kind of depends on what I see in the market, but that usually works for me. And usually when I do this, and I'm looking at the live market, my entries can be a lot more precise. So this has taken me a while to get to this point. So if you're not doing it in your mind 100% perfectly, or how I'm doing it, it's totally okay. It's whatever you see in the market and how you want to draw things up and what makes sense to you. So let's go ahead and go to H2. So once again, still looking good, still got all these rejections here. H1, which will probably be an entry time frame for me, especially for GJ and the way that I trade. Okay, so that is looking good. And then let me go down to M30 because sometimes I enter off of that as well. Still looking good. I'm seeing some fake outs right here. Basically, a fake out is when price goes down and it makes you think, oh, price is going to continue down, but it says, nope, we're going back up. And then in this case, it had more fake out right here, more fake outs right here, and it did it a couple of times. So price on GJ is very volatile at times, but also that volatility, basically meaning that the price, kind of has a mind of its own at times. It can also be the thing that helps you make money inside of the market. So anyway, so I'm liking how this is looking. This is looking excellent to me. So I'm just gonna leave this chart the way it is. And let's go ahead and go to like H4 or something so we can look at it and make sure that it still makes sense and still looks clean. So on the downside, one other thing I wanted to point out before we go to the next chart is notice these rejections right here. So you see a rejection right here, a rejection right here. We have some rejections here, and price never closed below this level on this H4 time frame. But it also had rejection levels right here. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and look at the line of best fit for these rejection levels. And you may be asking, why is that? Well, for me, if price came to this level, if price came to here and it rejected and pushed up, price came here, rejected and pushed up, and it also did the same thing here, so it did it 3 times, then that means that there is a higher probability that if price ever came into this zone again, so it's going to draw this box into the zone again, that it could potentially come down, do its thing, and then push back up. So basically, I don't want to get caught in that. So once again, I talked about taking a counter trend. Up in here, a counter trend will be a little bit risky, like I talked about before. But if we take a counter trend below this level, it will be a lot more safe, because then we'll be clear of this area in here where price is rejecting and going up. So basically, I'm more of a go with the trend type of trader. So if price was to break these levels, then I would definitely be interested in a sell below here. So let me actually just put my arrows here. Sometimes I do like to mark these off. I don't always do that, but I do, just so that way I know. So I have mine here. I kind of have my path here. That looks good to me, actually. Let me push that up. And we talked about this level already. And even though I'm looking for, on the upside, I'm looking for a trade really above this level, since price is already above this support level, I probably would take it down here, maybe just lower my risk, and then I could add more position once it breaks this level right here. So it just depends on the volume in the market and what's actually happening in the market. So right now, with nothing happening, it's kind of hard to say. That's why you have to come up with a couple of different plans and have this trading plan just ready to go when the market is live again, and especially when there is volume inside of the market. Hey, I wanted to let you know about a free program that I put together on trading. It goes over setup, psychology, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and over time, I'm going to be adding more content to this in order to provide more value to you, 100% free. You can find it at chartconfidence.com/free course, or click the link in the description box below so that way you can get access instantly. So now we're starting with US30, mainly because because, like I talked about before, I've been back testing this for the past week, nothing crazy. But basically, if you want to learn more about the different things that I use to back test, then go ahead and check out this video right here. So this is on the backside of YouTube, my YouTube studio, but it's this video here, Trade Without Losing. It's a thumbnail, and basically I go through a whole bunch of things here that are going to be super helpful for you in your trading journey. These are things that have definitely helped me become profitable. So here's the link right here. Find it on my channel. Go ahead and check it out. It's definitely going to help. It's been a super popular video, getting almost 2,000 views in less than 24 hours. So check it out. All right, so back to US 30. Basically, when it comes to this is a highly volatile market, and it's not a pair like with GBP, JPY, it's an index. So basically the US 30 or Dow 30 is the top 30 companies inside of the United States and is categorized by share price. So I don't know all the things on how these companies are picked, but basically here's an index of this particular market. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some semi-fresh analysis, basically cleaning up my charts because this is the end of the week, and you can see that there were a lot of moves that have happened. So let me go ahead and just take some of these things off of here. I'm gonna keep some of these things, probably remove this fib, just because I like to use that for measuring purposes. So the Fibonacci retracement tool is here in TradingView. Basically start at a low, go to a high, and basically I use this like a ruler. There's no magic to it at all whatsoever. So let's go ahead and zoom out. See, this was a trade that I took yesterday. I missed this trade today. It happens in trading, you're gonna miss trades, and it just is what it is. So let's go ahead on the weekly time frame, just like we do on any of these different areas. So this is my little affirmation here, money loves me. So keeping that in mind, basically as I trade these crazy markets. So on the weekly time frame, let's zoom in and see how the week closed. So it closed a weak bearish or a weak bullish candle this past week, and price is generally on an uptrend. So as we saw before, actually let's zoom back out so you can see, but price is generally on an uptrend. So this was back in 2020, so 4 years ago roughly. Price came up, pulled back, it came up a little bit, it didn't break this high right here, but then it pulled back and then it just took off. Actually, let me move it over so you can see it. And then it just took off October of 2013, and it's in an uptrend. So it's been pulling back the past couple of weeks, but still a lot of money to be made, a lot of moves happening in this market. So when it comes to this market, let me zoom in once again. So when I got my little things here, we can see that it closed a weak bullish candle. So weak bullish is not really a strong signal for me to be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go up. The only way we can really tell that is to go down on lower time frames. So we can see generally on the weekly, we're in a bullish trend. It did pull back a couple of weeks. This week, it could have closed bearish, but it closed bullish. So it lets me know that there are definitely some bulls in the market. So let's go ahead and go down to the daily time frame. All right, so now if we look at the daily time frame, we're getting a much clearer picture of what is happening on US 30. So today, which is this Friday, March 15th, it closed bearish. Okay, so that's not a good sign for us to be like, okay, yeah, price is gonna buy up. The fact that the price closed bearish today, meaning that there is a higher probability that for Monday, price could continue bearish. And what I'm seeing here on this daily time frame, if we're looking at the levels, so I have this level right here at 38,504. So and I have this here mainly because we have these two. Let me do this so you can see it a little bit better. We have this candle right here where it rejected this level right here. This candle also rejected. We have this candle that had a really huge push up. That's awesome. But then here we have 1, 2, 3 solid rejections, additional rejections from this level. So you may be thinking, well, why don't you have this line close to the bodies like you talked about a few minutes ago? And the reason for that is because I did go down on the lower time frames and made adjustments. So now that I'm going back to the higher time frame, it looks like it's further apart. So we're also going to make adjustments as necessary, so don't worry about that. So we got all these rejections. So I got this level right here, and you can see that there's another level here. So when I drew out this level, we had a rejection right here at 38,720, and then we had this bearish candle break, and then we had this bullish candle break back up, and then we also formed a support. So basically, I saw this support form, it came up, it formed a resistance here with this Thursday candle, and now it's closing bearish. So I'm like, okay, let's go down to lower time frames to see if we can refine our levels and see where we could potentially take some trades for early next week. So basically, looking at this on the H4 time frame, we can see that price did tap into those levels that I just talked about at 385, now 10. So I'm looking at this and I'm kind of wanting to move this line down here, mainly because I see in this level, or at this level, in this zone, we have a really strong support level. So I see two rejections right here, two big rejections right here, and then of course we got the other rejections that we talked about before. So I'm like, okay, this is looking a lot better, and we may actually make some more refinements as we go down in time frames. But now that the week is closed, I'm actually seeing this support being formed right here, so maybe I want to move it. So let's go ahead and move this and see how it looks. So I do like this support here. This came down, broke up. This is still kind of a messy zone, so we may be able to see something when we go down to a lower time frame, although I do like this right here. So I am going to put a little box over here just so that way I don't lose sight of this area right here. And you don't always have to drag it all the way over, but if you wanted to, you could see very clearly that price is touching, this is a strong support level in this zone, and then this is a strong resistance level in this zone. So we can keep it. I just don't want to have too many zones, but in this situation, it does make sense. So let's go ahead and look at this level. So I'm looking left, I see this resistance level here. I see a bunch of consolidation here, so it's looking a little crazy. I do see a bunch of rejections here, and yeah, so I'm wondering if I even need this level. So let's delete it and see how it looks. Okay, this is actually looking better because we got the resistance that formed here. We had this area. This was a fake out because price came up really strong, and then it closed back below the zone, and then it sold off a lot. That would have been a super nice payday if somebody caught that. I did not, because I wasn't looking at this market. But now I'm looking at it. So, okay, cool. So this is actually looking a lot better to me, mainly because we have cleaner zones, and we also have this support level right here. I could actually drag this in just a little bit. That's looking good to me. So let's look at this level at roughly 39,000. So this is still looking good to me because we have a good support level right here. This we may be able to refine on lower time frames. Let me delete that arc. I don't need that now. And then let me get rid of some of these purple, oops, not that line, purple circles, just because I like to keep my charts clean. I like to be able to see price. I think I'm deleting other stuff, but it's okay. Okay, great, delete that. I'll put those back. So I like to use those circles at times to mark highs and lows in the market. Okay. We'll get it on a different time frame. All right, so, okay, so that's looking good. So we got this resistance here. So maybe I want to move this right here because I see this resistance level right here at the 3,900 level. And then also too, it's a nice psychological level. So it doesn't always appear. I know some people only trade from psychological levels. I don't always, I just kind of like have it as something in the back of my mind. Okay, cool, it's at that level. But more so, I'm just focusing on the candles. So, and the way that they form. So I wanted to mark off this resistance level here. So, and then we got this top line here. So we're gonna get to these other lines on lower time frames. But I see right here that price formed a resistance, or at least it rejected this 39,278 level. And then also it did the same thing 2 other times. So this is telling me that this level is a strong level of resistance. So instead of putting it close to the body, I may actually want to put it at the wicks in this case. And you're probably like, what? Why are you doing that? So if you look down here, I pretty much did the same thing. We had this big rejection here, this big rejection here, and then, oh, look to the left, it also lined up perfectly with the support. So we're probably going to refine this on lower time frames, but this is looking like a really strong level to me, especially since it rejected 1, 2, 3 times already. Let me move my alert to be in that zone. All right, cool. So now let's go down to 3. So type in 3H. All right, cool. So at times I like to look at H3 just to make sure that my levels still make sense. So some of these are not looking 100%, but I'm not really gonna touch them just because I'll probably make more adjustments as we go down. So this is looking fine so far, so let's go to H2. But right here, if we look at this level, this is looking perfect to me, and it lines up pretty much perfectly. Let me move this over. So it lines up perfectly. If you look to the right this time, lines up perfectly with 39,000. Once again, a psychological level that I just kind of keep in the back of my mind. Okay, so when it comes to this level, it looks like I actually have this level drawn out a couple different times. So let me just clean up my chart. I think that was a consolidation at the time when I was actually trading. Move all this stuff. All right, move that. Okay, that still looks good to me. All right, now it's a little bit cleaner. Perfect. So now we have, if we start here, we have this resistance level that I wanted to highlight before. We have a nice, perfect rejection at this level, and it bounced up. Another rejection, or at least a support formed at this level. It bounced up. And then if we look over here, we kind of have a resistance that formed here. This is just kind of some noise right there, but we can see that although this is a little bit higher than a level that I drew, it's still kind of a rejection zone. Price gap, or it didn't really gap, but basically there is a gap between the level that I drew and where these candles are, and that's totally fine. We want to prioritize things that are happening, that have happened in the most recent time frame. So this price action here is obviously going to be the most recent area. So let me just keep cleaning up my charts here. I'm going to keep this line, this pink line right here, mainly because there's a ton of rejection. So this is at 39,092, so almost at 39,100. So I'm going to keep this. I'll probably actually move it if we go to lower time frames, but so far this is looking great to me. I'm going to keep my line up here at this 39,282 level, mainly because price rejected 3 times already. Let's go to H1. All right. A lot more rejections. Yep, still really key rejection levels. Once again, this pink level, I like the way that looks. And I just like the pink level for, these aren't major zones. These are pretty much minor zones that I like to, or minor levels that I like to mark off. The yellow boxes on my charts are pretty much more major zones. All right, this is still looking good to me. Yeah, I really like the way price is in this area. Actually, let me zoom in a bit because now it's getting a little harder to see. All right, cool. So one of the things that I like about this area, I actually probably will move my box up above these 2 levels right here because it formed resistances. So when you have a bullish and a bearish candle next to each other, it's usually a resistance. So you can see that these 2 candles formed and then it sold off. These 2 candles formed, then it sold off. So pretty much that is going to be helpful, definitely with my analysis. And like I said, this was that trade that I missed this morning. Oh, would have been nice. But anyway, and this is still looking good. So even off to the left, we still have a touch with this big rejection level, and we got the support that formed, this resistance that formed. Still looking good to me because I want to prioritize the most recent price levels. And this level, this level is still looking good to me because we got this little resistance that formed. And then if we look left, this is still a really interesting rejection level. price came up and did a fake out in this area, mainly because we have price went bullish. This candle was bullish, and then the next candle was bearish, and then it sold off a little bit. So that's still looking good to me. And then here is one of those areas that I marked off before. Still looking great. This is looking great to me. So I wanted to maybe make this a little bit thinner. This was formed around noon. So this is still looking good. And then we got the resistance level right there. So I'm happy with that. And then I just kind of want to take my cursor and hover and just see what's left. So I want to drag this actually just to see what other levels are that have formed in the past. All right, that is looking good. I'll move this up a little bit. All right, cool. So we can see in the past at this particular level, we formed this support and it shot up. Although it did come back down, but it did form that support. That was a really strong support. This was a continuation area where if it was a little resistance, let me make this a little bit bigger. These candles are pretty small. Right, so in here, price formed a resistance. We got the bullish and the bearish together, and then price shot up. So this would have been a nice move right here, especially on this candle closure up here to this zone right here. So yeah, that was really nice. I mean, there's a lot of consolidation in here. So basically just to kind of ignore this area altogether would be good. But if you were taking scalps or intraday trades, these are some really nice levels. Okay, cool. Still looking good to me. All right, cool. So let's zoom out a bit and let's look at this last level just to make sure it still makes sense. Oh yeah, rejection. These are those rejection levels that we saw earlier, but now we're seeing it on a much lower time frame. So this was that support level that I liked. So I'm moving this level down to about right here, mainly because we still got those rejections that we saw in that higher time frame. I think we first drew this on H4. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rejections. And then we also have, okay, so these are not really touching, but these are kind of like in the zone, basically, for that. So maybe, let me see if I move this to this level. Will that make sense? Okay, so now they're touching. I kind of want them to touch. So we're gonna leave our zone right here. So it doesn't matter if you put it here, 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 like it's all what looks good to you. So this looks good because, actually, let me move that back. I moved it before. Okay, so I'm moving this right here mainly because I want these two big rejections here to touch this level. So that way, as price goes on and I'm looking at it, but like, oh yeah, price rejected that level cleanly. That 38,447, which is really close to 38,500 psychological level. Yeah, so anyway, I like the way this looks. All right, cool. So this is pretty much my chart markup for US30 and pretty much what I'll be looking for on Monday. So here's a little downtrend right here. So I would say safer buys as far as my trading plan goes would be above here, and then basically taking price from here, this like zone all the way up here. That will be super clean. So actually, let me just draw that off. So this is mainly what I'll be looking for, and the fact that there's a lot of volume inside of this market, it could do this, and it can move from here to up here in some hours depending on the volume. So right now though, we're actually in a downtrend. That's why I feel safer with buys above here, and that's why today I was waiting for this move here. I think I missed it. It was really quick. I remember now. I was heating up some tea and I came back, it was already down here. I was like, and I should have set my alerts. So set your alerts so that way you won't miss moves. So anyway, yeah, so pretty much what price is doing, it's in an uptrend overall, but it broke this support level, and I took a trade in here yesterday. It tapped. Did I get this tap? No, this was at the end of the day. So the tap that I got was somewhere in here, and then it pushed all the way up, and then I got out the trade for a small profit. I'm like, okay, I'm good, and let me just move on with my day. So I was waiting for a price to retest this zone, and then this is the trade that I missed today, came down, and then it came down even more, even after this really big push up, and then it came down even more. So what I'd be waiting for is basically a continuation or seeing how price will continue. So pretty much above this level, I'll be looking for buys. Up below this level, I'll be looking for sells, especially because price did the famous break and retest. So broke, retest, continue down. So this is a little retest here. Price could continue down and tap into this level, and it could, do whatever it wants. It could bounce off just like price did here and here. Don't really know. You don't really need to know. You just gotta see what price is telling you. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. I'm looking for continued sells below this level for sure. Now, hypothetically, well, I really don't like to do hypotheticallys because there's literally infinite number of situations, but just know below this line, I'm gonna be looking for sells. And I know that price could potentially bounce off of here. So let me draw this out or drag this out just a little bit further. And then also one thing I am going to do is just put some up arrows right here. So that way when I'm looking at it, it's insanely obvious to me that at this level, price likes to go up. So let me do this. And I'm putting this here because sometimes I'm not always able to look at it at my computer. Sometimes I'm looking at it on my phone. And I don't recommend taking trades from your phone or doing analysis from your phone. But if I'm quickly looking at the charts, then I'll see all of these markers and it'll be good reminders for me. So, okay, so that is looking good. So pretty much, yeah, that's my trading plan for US30. And I hope that you like this breakdown. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so that way you can catch more of these things, and I will see you next time. Thanks.